everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Paint Table. This is my weekly show where I see what I'm working on, what I got done, and what is coming up. So this week, I painted ropes. I painted lots of little ropes, hundreds in fact, of little ropes. I painted the terrain set from Heart of Ghur, the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, new battlescape, battle zone, they're called Kill Zone and Kill Team. Battle Zone? Battlescape? Board? That's what I painted this week. And it took a while. It's a very highly detailed terrain kit. I used a bunch of corner cutting techniques to do it, but it ate up the better part of my week. And what's cool about that though is I got to play 3 full games, 3 campaign arc games of the new Warcry. There's so much stuff came out at once for Warcry. I kind of got the idea that I was like, well, I'm not super inspired by the box set warbands. I have a gajillion warbands from the previous edition, and also I want to show off all of the compendium stuff that's come out for free online and also in the compendium book going forward. So what we do is we kind of try to mash all 3 together. We recorded a campaign arc where Mike used an OG warband, the Cypher Lords. I used the Stormcast, the new Thunderstrike Stormcast out of the compendium, and we used the Heart of Ghur terrain and campaign arc. So we kind of tried to put all 3 together and do the best look at all this stuff that came out the same kind of let's play campaign arc thing in one go as we could. And then I do want to do a modern warband, so I also unpacked some stuff to paint. There's some cool stuff coming up for one of my old Necromunda warbands, and I got a very cool, exciting, very kind pre-release gift from the guys at Catalyst Game Labs that I'll show you too. So let's take a look at what got done and then what's coming up. So if you follow me on social media, you've probably already seen these, but this is my 2-player starter set terrain for the Heart of Ghur, the Gnarlwood. It's weird and creepy, and I kind of love it, and I'll take you through how I painted it. So this was more of a patience exercise than it was a technical exercise. Literally anybody, and I mean anybody, my son, literally anybody, someone who's never picked up a brush before could probably paint this the way I painted it, because I used a ton of cheat codes to get it done, because it is hyper detailed, but you do require some patience to get all the little details done. So first things first, I actually used 4 spray cans on this, and that's how I got sort of the nice different tones on everything. I did an initial kind of bottom spray of both this Espresso Painter's Touch Rust-Oleum and some of this Oxide Red Tremclad paint to give it that dark tone. So at the bottom, I did a layer of the really dark brown, then over top of that at 45 degrees, I did the red, and then kind of under, as an underspray as well. All of these parts are separate, so all of the little walkways and gangplanks. Also, all the skulls I kept separate from the trees, and that gave me the ability to kind of hit it with different colors and tones as you go, and get that kind of dark to light fade right away. After that, from the top down, I did this, I think it's called Nutmeg Rust-Oleum, and then very almost directly above down, I used this Krylon Almond. It's just a beige, basically. And that way you get a dark to light fade. So you can see here I picked colors kind of that go in order here as a dark to light fade. And when that's all dry, because you're mixing paints, you're doing a lot of spray painting, so be prepared for that. I went in and I painted most of this by making washes. And I don't mean shades. You can't really pre-bottle washes to paint this way. What I did is I got some little teeny plastic Dixie cups. I get paints that I think are the right color, and I cut them with water and a teeny tiny bit of usually some medium. You can even use white glue, just a slight viscosity or thickening agent that causes it not to run so much. I think it's called Narlock. Actually, I don't even think it's Narlock Green. I think it's actually a Privateer Press P3 paint. Is a greeny, almost a light olive for the trees. And you can see here, I gave everything a dry brush, a light beige, just to pick out all the high tones from the top down. And then I started washing stuff in. So that's that green washed over that primary base tone, just keeping to the tree parts. I did the same kind of a wash, just using a turquoise. I think it's just old Citadel Hawk turquoise, thin down over top of all the rubble. And then for the bones and stuff, I actually used a purple. I don't think it's Lich purple. It's a Citadel purple, maybe. And that gave me all of the bones kind of a weird purple tinge to them. And then the big thing there is you're using a lot of watered down paint. When you're done with that, you gotta let it all dry completely. I mean, I walked away for 3 hours. I think I went for a hike, came back, and it was all totally dry. And I picked up the details. So the skulls are just I think Khemri brown or something like that, highlighted up through white, just mixed in. These are Griff Charger gray, maybe, like contrast with a little bit of white blended in for all the little like claws and horns and stuff. And this is just straight up Bal Red contrast paint at the ends of all of the trees. Because they're not like, they're more like giant weird orcs, right? Like they're like a weird, slightly alive, they can claw you. These aren't really branches, they're more like hands, like they get up and walk around gnarlwood trees. And then when that was all done, all those details got picked out, I went through with Rattling Grime and I painted every single little rope. And the nice thing about that is by doing like a dark rope on a light bamboo contrast, you get that really cool pop, that really nice contrast with the contrast paints. But that kind of like nice finish where they look a little bit more man-made and it all kind of like blends together. So having like a consistent undertone and then working with like, basically everything's almost like a brown to beige in the beginning, working with like washes down, everything ties together nicely and you get a really cool, consistent, very natural look that worked really nicely for this terrain. Yeah, because it is all very natural looking. And there's tons of little details I could go on. I could paint like, I don't know, some gold and stuff on the ruins if I wanted to. I don't think I will. I actually like them just being stone. And yeah, and there wasn't really anything else left to paint. So I'm super happy with how it turned out. Again, though, it's a million little details, so it's time consuming more than anything else. The actual paint scheme is just all wall hacks, right? I'm using aimbots basically with spray paint and dry brushing, and then letting the actual like homemade sort of like paint washes do all the finishing touches. And then again, don't play with it, walk away, let it dry naturally, and you tend to get like a really nice result. And then just a few picked out details like the ropes, the little red I don't know, fingers on the trees, right? And all the little skulls and bones, and it looks nice and finished. So there it is, my Heart of Ghur train. Probably took like 3 days. I'd assemble it one day, all the primer and washes the next day, and then go in and pick out the details the third day to get it done. And coming up, I decided I really want to paint the Legionnaires. I think these are some of the coolest Chaos miniatures that have been made in a while. The only guy I'm not a big fan of is the Mutandor. I think it's just his head. I think I'm just going to give him a Beastman head. Like, I don't know why. I don't know, his head just looks like, compared to these guys who have this amazing, I would call them Ian Miller Chaos Warriors. Ian Miller loved these like flat helmets and stuff like that. If you ever go back and look through any of his Realms of Chaos art, these have a very Ian Miller inspired like look to them. I'm going to paint them, I thought I would paint them in black and white actually, as like an Ian Miller like inspired thing, or maybe throw on just a few colors on. It's only 8 models for a warband, but they also fit super nicely with this guy, the Torlon Marshal, who I'm super pumped to paint, especially for my Slaves to Darkness army. So I'll probably base them to match all of my current Chaos Legionnaire stuff. I mean, it won't look too different from what's on this box, but that's going to be my next warband. So having played through a campaign arc now, the only unfortunate thing so far about Warcry is the campaign arcs add so much to the story, and once you've done them, though, they're kind of disposable, and you only get 1 2-player campaign arc in the core box. And the 2-player campaign that's in the Rotten Ruin book is just for those 2 warbands. They didn't make them for any warbands, which I thought was kind of silly. Because all the campaigns that are in the other expansions for Kill Team are like any warband can play through them, but these ones are like faction tied. And so we're kind of like, maybe more will come out in White Dwarf. Like, I'd really like to see some more campaign arcs for this game because they're the thing that was missing. Like, the way that interacts now with the campaign system, it makes it super fun, and I want more of that. So that's next up. We're gonna, whenever that we can get another campaign arc to play, I'm gonna paint these guys and get them all put together, or when the new Slaves to Darkness book comes out, which just got announced on the roadmap for AOS, which I'll be pumped for too. I got some reinforcements, some named dudes for my my Goliaths, Axon Hammer and Durgan Killfist, who's, I mean, look at that thing. What even is that? I have a beautiful Goliath warband that I'm excited to actually expand with these guys. They're pretty cool. All the new announcements for next month make me happy. And then the Goliath champion with Renderizer, who's got some special rules too that I'll have to paint up and add. So it basically just finishes up special characters for my Goliaths. I have a whole Goliath warband already painted, and I'll add them when we get back to our Necromunda campaign. Finally, the Demos Pattern Predator Battle Tank. I haven't painted this yet because I just don't feel like an armored column suits my Raven Guard. And I'm trying to decide what to do. If I do make my little allied detachment of Space Wolves, it'll probably go with this one, because this feels much more Space Wolf-y than Raven Guard-y. I feel like the Raven Guard would have transports. Like, I'm going to save the fast stuff, I think, for the Raven Guard, and maybe do this guy for the Space Wolves that I want to do as like a little allied contingent for them. So, it's cool. I mean, the box is obviously awesome. We've seen it all throughout on Warhammer Community. I'm sure there's a ton of people actually showing you the frames at this point. Let's have a look. Show me potato salad. It's the Rhino frame, so it's the Demos pattern Rhino frame. You know, doing this with your left hand, Ash, was probably the worst idea you've ever had. It's the Demos pattern Rhino frame. It's the same sponson frame from the two big cans, the Psycheron and the whatchamacallit, the Psycheron and the Kratos. And then this top plate is the new Predator plate, right? So you can see it replaces the door panels from the Demos pattern Rhino with the Predator top turret, the turret ring, a new front piece, and the two sponson holders, right? So these go with that sponson weapon frame. And then there's the gun frame, which lets you build all the potential guns. So Predator autocannon, twin las cannons, the big Volkite dealy. And that's really it. It's those two frames, really the two different ones. And then, of course, the added frame that we've already seen from that kit. So you can do the turret-mounted Gravis las cannon, turret-mounted Volkite macro Saker, that's the name, and a Graviton turret, or the Predator autocannon. So 4 different turret options, 3 different sponson options, which we've already seen from the other big mainline battle tanks. And a cool little accessory for the core Rhino kit. So I'm excited they made this so modular. It means they can probably do lots of these. I expect we'll see one of these for the Whirlwind. We'll see one of these for, you know, all the, like the Scorpius, all the stuff that is, you know, still in the book, basically. You have to have a frame. I'm sure we'll see that come out as accessories as well. And last but not least, the new Battletech Alpha Strike 2-player starter set. 2 Lances of Inner Sphere mechs and a Star of Clan mechs. How freaking cool is this? It comes with terrain, buildings, a rulebook, and even like a little like novel and universe primer, as well as all the cards for Alpha Strike. I am super pumped for this. Randall from Catalyst was kind enough to send along one of these as a complimentary copy for review, and also send one to Jay. So we're both gonna paint some stuff up. You tell me in the comments. But I gotta start a new army for this. This is like new chapter. So I think this time Jay should play the clan. That's my take, my hot take. So tell me in the comments who should paint what as what and what I should do here. So start taking votes. I want ideas as to what to do this Inner Sphere like pair of lances as, and then, you know, maybe I could even roll in, if I do like a mercenary company, I could roll in some of the clan mechs and stuff too, if we do like 30-50. Anyway, there's lots of fun, neat, cool, different poses in here. The review will go over the rest of them, but you'll be able to see up close and personal how all these different variants are different from the originals from the first round of mocks. So there we go, another week of painting, got a bunch of terrain finished, bunch of new projects on the go, and you'll see what gets done next week. So big thanks for watching. Till then, I'm Ash. Happy gaming. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.